Roman did manage to complete the rigors of paratrooper training and was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division, which functions as a sort of farm team for the Special Forces. But repeated parachute jumps gave him a kind of leg injury known as compartment syndrome, which several surgeries failed to alleviate. Left unable to run well and hobbled by chronic pain, the unlucky young soldier, who was liking military life less and less, was given the unenviable desk job at headquarters of the 37th Brigade Engineer Battalion, a unit that supports frontline troops by clearing roads, digging fortifications, building bridges, and doing other construction work in combat zones. In the late Global War on Terror era, such units were pervaded by drug use as the Special Forces. Such units were as pervaded by drug use as the Special Forces. But rather than cocaine, the most commonly used substance among lower enlisted soldiers in the conventional army was LSD. Everyone does LSD, said Megan Malloy, an undercover narcotics agent. On post, it's the main drug. Pretty much everyone was doing acid, agreed Jordan Terrell, the Special Forces dropout in the 82nd Airborne Division, who sold LSD and shrooms to Billy Levine and his Delta Force teammates, and bought coke and heroin from them. Psychedelics and cocaine were the two biggest. A gloomy Special Forces base in the Pine Woods of North Carolina would seem bound to produce a bad trip in all but the most stalwart of psychonauts. But in fact, the history of LSD in the United States is deeply rooted at Fort Bragg. The Army and Navy were part of the CIA's efforts during the Cold War to develop a mind control drug that they could use to elicit confessions and program assassins. In the 1950s, as part of Operation Third Chance, more than 1,000 Fort Bragg soldiers were among the first Americans to be voluntarily dosed with LSD. Today, soldiers in the market for recreational high prefer LSD for straightforward reasons. It's among the most difficult drugs to detect by urinalysis, and tiny acid tabs are easy to conceal. Few police dogs are trained to detect it. Stuck in a cubicle and counting the days until his enlistment ended and he could go to pharmacy school, Roman catered to the large and growing psychedelics market on base as a means of making money on the side. Every time that he went home on leave, he came back carrying a supply of blotters. He developed hookups in Raleigh in the District of Columbia and opened a post office box for ordering high-quality acid off the dark web. He sold the tabs using a dead drop under a trash can in the stairwell of his barracks building, charging $15 a pop. Roman made minimal effort to conceal his activities, even posting provocative pictures of himself on social media, in which he was blatantly dropping a tab of acid on his tongue while wearing his uniform and maroon beret of the 82nd Airborne Division. Informants, including one of his roommates, reported his use and distribution of drugs to his chain of command. The 37th Brigade Engineer Battalion took no disciplinary action, but Roman was quietly placed on a military police watch list, a system called alerts, used to track potential dealers in the ranks. He was also directed to attend substance abuse counseling. Hello and welcome to Technopoverty. I'm Henry, this here is Barney. We are flying solo tonight, reading Seth Harp's The Fort Bragg Cartel while playing 1999's PSX classic, Medal of Honor. What I was just reading there to you is descriptive of Roman, I forget his last name, it is a hyphenated one that I do not know the full of. But it's basically getting at, while we've been talking about Special Forces operators who were dealing mainly in cocaine and heroin, there's all kinds of other drug use happening on the base. There's LSD, there's shrooms, there's marijuana, of course. There are different domains with their different kingpins, and gotta say, the back half of this book really surprised me with the turn it took, considering what we've been discussing so far about it, gang. I got a few more things I want to read from it, but in short, we've been talking a lot of recent history with the global war on terror and all that. The last third or so of the book, just right at the end here, it starts hitting you with story after story after story of recent murder or murder-suicide or other horrible, somebody was a Roman got chopped up by an axe. They never found out who did it. Just all these immediate, contemporary, happening in the now, just crises that have, compounded due to this history we've been walking through. Harp really weaves it together in an interesting way, where you have this macro-political history, and then it gets funneled into the personal at the end here in very gruesome ways. Although I don't feel it's exploitative. graphic, but it's grounded, and there's reason, and there's a rationale behind why Seth believes this is important to report on, and that really kind of shines through in the writing itself. It never feels like a tabloid exploitation thing. I know I'm reading some shocking stuff, or I don't know, I've had some friends tell me this book was quite radicalizing. Maybe I had a general skepticism of the special forces going in, or perhaps just hearing Seth Harp and seeing his stuff in Rolling Stones over the years. I feel like it was I didn't realize that I've been in the boiling water for a while, and I've been pulling people into hot water with this book, I suppose is the way to say it. But once again, the book is Seth Harp's The Fort Bragg Cartel. It came out last year. It is a non-fiction account of just the history of opioids and the global war on terror, and a series of mystery murders that have been happening in Fort Bragg these past few years that could in ways be tied to the macro culture of just cynicism and hedonism. I'll say more later. I have to keep reading parts of this book. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Having declared it a cold case, CID had no choice but to close its file on Enrique Roman Martinez. Roman Martinez was Enrique's hyphenated name. And move on. The agency's Fort Bragg office was severely overtaxed in those days. Its resources and personnel spread thin. According to the New York Times article that disclosed the occurrence of the Levine Dumas murders and the contents of Roman's autopsy, it had otherwise been, until then, a relatively calm year at Fort Bragg. That was a regrettable misstatement of fact. Casualty reports obtained through public records requests showed that the base was then in the midst of an unprecedented wave of fatalities, like nothing ever seen before at any other U.S. military base, driven by record numbers of suicides, overdoses, and homicides, many of them drug-related, and the carnage was only beginning. Just 3 weeks after the Levine Dumas murders and the release of Roman's autopsy report, while the Fort Bragg brass still had their hands full of managing the media attention and churn from higher headquarters that resulted, yet another murder took place. Once again, it involved a war-traumatized special operations soldier who dealt illegal drugs on base, and the USA SOC organization to which he belonged was none other than Timothy Dumas's old unit, the 98th Civil Affairs Battalion and the 95th Civil Affairs Brigade. They go on to explain this was a case of roid rage, which then takes us into another tangent. Again, besides heroin, besides opioids, besides cocaine, besides acid, there's a huge market for roids. It's on base. Everybody's keeping competitive, both personally and for that edge for that promotion. They want to be a warrior. They want to press Daddy Hegseth, that kind of thing. Also, what's up, Ja? What's up, Elman32? I'm just saying hi to the chat again. I know I did a bit about that in the pre-roll, but I just got straight to reading here. A new era. Roids are serious cash. Yeah, Ja, I can only imagine this getting more intense, considering, I'm still a gym rat, and I've been that since, 2010-ish. It's a very interesting evolution I've seen, because, in college, a gym came with the tuition, so I might as well make use of it. And the evolution of the cell phone in the gym, and its place in the gym, has been very interesting to me, because that used to be frowned upon as a distraction between sets. You're at the gym to focus. There's a more sportsmanlike or athletic sense of discipline in the early 2010s. You have Ziz and Fitizen culture and that kind of creeping in with the male bodybuilding stuff, but they are very much still in the vein of the dudes who worship Arnold and watch Pumping Iron. And the thing is, so those guys, for instance, still care about who wins Mr. Olympia, whereas, I think the newest iteration with, Cliff Keeler and the Looks Maxers, their whole thing is they're not trying to do the whole Olympic competition thing, because they couldn't, because the whole subset of Looks Maxing aesthetics pursuit is less about, healthy understanding and security with your body and, beating the shit out of yourself to look mediocre. But it's very interesting how nowadays, I don't know, everybody's kind of filming themselves. It's almost given that you're going to see an influencer or someone doing that. Unless you're at a gym that's a commercial gym that explicitly says no phones on the floor. I know, some gyms do that. And then others, they want to, the gym itself may want to promote that people can come there and work out, so they're not against it. Also, fitness culture despite the kind of extreme like dieting, body insecurity, steroid side of it, it is worth taking care of yourself, being healthy. Like that is a good and healthy habit to have. So that's something that you can still like market. And then the underside of that is the steroids angle. It's not the same thing as saying going get out, get drunk, partying, etc. I don't mind that people are more fitness-minded now, although the way that the market tries to accommodate that by saying everything has protein in it and trying to like artificially like gear shit that, like the RFKization of the culture, when, I don't know, back in 2010's fitness culture, it seemed to be like, just be aware of what's at the store and like know how to read a nutrition facts label. Despite assurances from the New York Times that 2020 at Fort Bragg had been relatively calm, Keith Lewis was the 54th soldier to die there since the beginning of the year, and not even the last. An artilleryman shot himself in the head a week later on December 27th. The following year, CID and the FBI were investigating, without much success, the murders of Billy Levine, Timothy Dumas, and Enrique Roman Martinez. Another 54 Fort Bragg soldiers lost their lives, for a staggering 2-year total of 109 fatalities. Only 4 of those deaths occurred overseas in Afghanistan and Syria. All the rest took place stateside, mostly on Fort Bragg proper, or in Fayetteville. None of the Fort Bragg casualties of 2020 and 2021 were from COVID-19. The majority were deaths of despair, suicides, and overdoses. A shocking number were outbursts of fratricidal, soldier-on-soldier violence, or unsolved murders. And many cases were simply marked pending determination, to the great frustration of military family members. They sit across the table from you. They don't say anything. You ask a question, they look at each other. Then they stare back at you and give some formal answer, said Heather Baker, an elementary school teacher from the Texas Panhandle whose 19-year-old son, Private Caleb Smither, turned up dead in his bunk from ambiguous causes in January of 2020. His body in such an advanced state of decomposition that he couldn't have an open casket funeral. He looked like someone had beat the shit out of him, said his mom of the putrefying bruises that covered one whole side of his body. Army authorities eventually determined that Smither, who belonged to the same 37th Brigade Engineer Battalion as Enrique Roman Martinez, died of bacterial meningitis, but couldn't explain how a private second class with a recent head injury had been left completely unsupervised for 5 days. At one point, Baker snapped at them. I've heard better excuses from 4th graders. Another military reform seen in 2023 was the rechristening of a number of bases named after Confederate generals. Among them was Fort Bragg, named after General Braxton Bragg, a native son of North Carolina who suffered heavy losses to his forces during the Civil War and is generally ranked by historians among the worst tacticians of his era. Fort Bragg has a shameful legacy of vicious hate crimes committed by bigoted soldiers. In 1993, an Army sergeant angry about gays in the military got blackout drunk and committed a senseless mass shooting at a randomly chosen Italian restaurant. 2 years later, a pair of neo-Nazi paratroopers shot and killed a couple walking down the street just because they were black. Fayetteville itself is built around an arcade and clock tower that used to be a slave market. Considering this ugly history, few people in the community vociferously opposed stripping the base of its anachronistic appellation. Most were open to some kind of change, including the possibility of rededicating the base in honor of Braxton Bragg's more distinguished cousin, Edward Bragg, a Union Army officer, congressman, and diplomat. Instead, the commission appointed to the task by Congress renamed the base Fort Liberty, a surprisingly uninspired and generic choice that reminded me of nothing so much as Freedom City, the mock Iraqi town built out past Spring Lake for troops to practice reacting to ambushes. Even the new signs looked cheap, with warped sheets of laminated polymer replacing the sturdy old wooden beams. The renaming ceremony was held on the afternoon of June 2nd, a warm and muggy Friday. Beneath blue and yellow tents, a few dozen local dignitaries, retired officers, and Gold Star mothers had gathered to observe the final casing of Fort Bragg colors. A sergeant major barked at ease, and everyone stood at attention and saluted as the Demon's battery of the 319th Field Artillery fired off their deafening howitzers. The band played the Star-Spangled Banner, and the army goes rolling along. The chaplain of the 18th Airborne Corps offered up a brief non-denominational prayer, and then the ubiquitous Chris Donahue, Billy Levine's former commander, who had received his third star after the 82nd's deployment to Poland and would soon receive a fourth, gave a short commemorative speech, unremarkable in content except that he repeatedly referred to Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, as the center of the universe. Afterward, Donahue stood for a press scrum and took questions from reporters from the Associated Press, PBS NewsHour, the Fayetteville Observer, and Task and Purpose. When my turn came, I tried to ask General Donahue about the Longstreet Gate bust, about which there has been no word since January, and the Levine-Dumas murders, which by this time seemed likely to remain forever unsolved. But Colonel Burns, the Chief of Public Affairs, wouldn't let me finish. He rushed over to hustle me away on the grounds that I wasn't on the approved-of list of journalists, and 6 military policemen swiftly arrived to escort me off the premises of the installation, now known as Fort Liberty. This is something I really like that Harp hammers throughout the book too, is he is a vet and he served in the military and also is a journalist who's been published in Rolling Stone and such. Which I find really helps kind of sell, again, the reason it ends up not feeling salacious or exploitive by the end, and it comes through here, is because there is soldier-and-soldier violence going on because of these unresolved issues and this kind of hush-hush network of going along to get along that's happening at Fort Bragg. I mean, a dude was axed to death, and Levine and Dumas, there's a mysterious, as he's been talking here, like they were found dead with a unknown third man to blame for what happened to them. So it creates just a bad atmosphere, man. Let's see, what's going on in chat? What's up, Mask for Mask? Yeah, oh man, we're gonna get there. It's kind of a perfect final paragraph that this book has, I'll say that much. Jack Quaid and his mom make Ryan on seem to be getting traction. Interesting, Mask. Thank you for the heads up on that. Gang, we have a little bit more of the Fort Bragg Cartel I want to keep reading, just because I think he really ties the room together with this ending, man. Before he was indicted for allegedly killing Levine and Dumas, Quick had already been sentenced to 57 months in federal prison. So this is a bit later in the book. There's this guy, Quick, they finally nailed for the Dumas Levine murder, but it's interesting. There's questions raised about it. Before he was indicted for allegedly killing Levine and Dumas, Quick had already been sentenced to 57 months in federal prison for possessing a firearm as a felon. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, and there's no telling how many more times his trial will be delayed. As of February 2025, pre-trial motions, responses, and replies are not all due in this case until May 28th, 2025. But come what may, even if Quick pleads out or is convicted on the basis of incontrovertible evidence, a great many people in Fayetteville will be left unpersuaded of his guilt. Courtney Williams, unsurprisingly, did not believe the official story. I assume that they had him killed, she said, meaning Delta Force or corrupt elements within it. No one will ever be able to prove it, she said, but I guarantee it's what happened. She added, they are so well trained at diversion and misinformation. They are experts at covering things up. I would not put anything past them. They have no morals. They think they have no accountability because they don't. For years, Williams's job has been to assemble and curate fake identities under the cover of which Delta Force operators entered hostile foreign countries guarded by paranoid counterintelligence agencies, carried out lethal covert missions, and then left without being detected. She knew that the unit was keenly practiced at psychological operations and capable of controlling media coverage of its activities. "The news lies all the time," she said. "We were trained that way in our signature reduction training. The news is fed false information on purpose." For the past 2 decades, Delta Force has functioned as a high-tech death squad dedicated to covertly liquidating the male population base of recalcitrant ethnic and tribal groups that resist U.S. military occupation. That rogue members of such a monstrous institution might quietly put down one of their own, even on American soil, does not overly strain the imagination. I never uncovered any proof of such, but it did not surprise me that so many people, easily the majority of those I interviewed in Fayetteville and Moore County, reflexively assumed that Levine and Dumas were trash taken out to the curb, so to speak, by vigilante operators, if not the Special Forces Command itself. Understandable suspicion also lingered around Mark Leschker's former teammates in A Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Special Forces Group, although no evidence of their involvement ever came to light either. "When I found out that Billy died," said Jordan Terrell, "I was pretty much convinced that Mark's team did it, or one of his own unit guys, because he was fucking up quite a bit." Perhaps the only scenario that local folks were unwilling to entertain and dismissed out of hand was the one presented by the Department of Justice, that 2 long-serving Special Operations soldiers, hardened veterans of many years at war, both of whom trafficked narcotics by the kilo and dealt with international drug cartels, were done in by a reckless delinquent of 20 who lived 2 counties over and was already facing up to life in prison for unrelated crimes. "I don't believe that for a second," said Terrell, who, like TJ, found the expert sterilization of the crime scene and its firebombing of Dumas's Dodge Ram to be telling details. "It's really hard to burn a truck unless you have some sort of incendiary device," he said. "There's just no way some random gangbanger off the street's gonna have that type of wherewithal." In his 2014 retirement speech, Admiral William McRaven, the former JSOC commander, called the era of the global war on terror the golden age of special operations. But the wars that won him and his privileged ilk so many encomiums were, for the rest of the nation, an era of cataclysmic abasement. The wars that made SOCOM a budgetary and bureaucratic juggernaut were not worth fighting, in the opinion of a majority of Americans, including supermajorities of combat veterans. In Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, Somalia, Libya, Syria, and now Ukraine, the United States failed to achieve its stated ex-ante objectives and succeeded only in killing millions of people, displacing tens of millions, squandering trillions of dollars, and making America the great villain of the 21st century in the eyes of most of the world. 10 years after McRaven's speech, the iconic archetype of the rugged Special Forces operator no longer occupied the same vaunted position in the cultural firmament. The prototypical figure of the bearded commando had taken on a grittier, dirtier, darker cast in the popular imagination. "You start to see behind the curtain," the former Delta Force soldier and Army Agent Tyler Gray said to the podcast host Sean Buck Rogers, an ex-Green Beret, of his service alongside the CIA in Iraq and Syria. "Dude, this is not what I thought it was," Gray realized. "We're not who I thought we were. We're not doing it for the reasons I thought." Over time, the suspicion that the American might actually be the bad guys just continues to grow, Gray said, speaking in 2023, "to where now I see why veterans of wars, when they're older, feel a certain way," he said. "I'm starting to be that guy." Gray went on to say that if he could speak to a young person thinking of joining the military and pursuing a career in special operations, he'd be tempted to tell the kid, "Don't do it. It's a trap. Run. Go live your life, man," he added. "Don't trust your recruiter. Don't believe them." In 2021, for the first time since polling began, less than half of respondents in the United States said that they placed a great deal of faith in the armed forces, an unprecedented result replicated by follow-up polls in 2022 and 2023. Partly as a result of the military's steep decline in public esteem, all 4 service branches missed their recruiting targets in 2022 and fared little better in 2023 and 2024. The Army raised the maximum enlistment age, temporarily dropped the requirement of a high school diploma, streamlined the naturalization process for immigrants, overlooked previously disqualifying hand and neck tattoos, and offered signing bonuses of up to $50,000, yet still fell the furthest short. Between January 2017 and September 2022, a total of 15,293 active duty service members suffered drug overdoses, and 322 of those were fatal, according to statistics compiled by the Department of Defense. The data showed that Fort Bragg had far more overdoses than any other military base, in both absolute and per capita terms, and that Fort Bragg soldiers were significantly more likely to overdose and die than the average American. President Joe Biden cut the United States' losses in Afghanistan, but the myopic, blithely confident, and pathetically inept national security officials who ran his administration otherwise racked up a foreign policy record as execrable as any of his recent predecessors, provoking and then losing a proxy war with Russia over Ukraine that was as pointless as it was bloody, presiding over apartheid Israel's unspeakable genocide in Gaza, and in the catastrophic finale of Iraq War III, causing the remnants of the Syrian state to fall to an affiliate of Al-Qaeda notorious for chopping people's heads off and stoning women to death. The SOCOM War Crimes Review that Biden had ordered days after his inauguration, which the New York Times had predicted too optimistically might cause seismic repercussions in the special operations community, produced no such dramatic results. The report, quietly issued by the Pentagon's Inspector General later the same year, turned out to be a tedious and legalistic review of whether SOCOM had in place proper policies and procedures for personnel to report war crimes up the chain of command. Its only recommendations were minor tweaks to obscure administrative regulations. So, if you just see your boss doing a war crime, just report it up the chain of command. There will be no retaliation, there will be no reason to fear anything there. There were at least 24 murders involving Fort Bragg soldiers between 2020 and 2024. Many remained unsolved years after the fact. On May 3, 2024, a utility worker named Ramzan Dareev, a Muslim immigrant from Chechnya with a permit to work in the United States, was conducting a survey of high-speed internet cables in Moore County. And in order to photograph a power pole located on a utilities easement off Dowd Road in Carthage, went onto private property owned by Lieutenant Colonel Galen Legrand Huss, a Special Forces officer in command of a training battalion at the JFK Special Warfare Center and school. Colonel Huss got into an argument with Dareev, who was unarmed and carrying no tools, then pulled out a gun and shot him 4 times, once in the hand, once in the face, twice in the back. Moore County's district attorney promptly determined that it was a case of justified homicide. Let me catch up with the chat, and we're about to read the last part. So I'm here for are we the baddies has entered the chat? Ja, yes. Mask, I do think. I'll talk more about this as I'm playing Call of Duty, but I do think this book's pretty good. I don't think it's going to win over any fascist or right-wingers, but if you know any centristy lib friends who, will listen to reason, again, Harp is a journalist with a credentialed background. He's a veteran. He's served his time. He's gone through traditional publishing means to get this out there without it looking too sketchy. He's doing a lot to, really make this book work. And, it juggles being a true crime, kind of salacious crime thing with being a macro history of the global war on terror that I think really provides some incontrovertible evidence that you can't look away from these things. Once again, The Fort Bragg Cartel by Seth Harp. It's gruesome, but I've really enjoyed it. Let me just spoilers for real life, guys. I'm gonna read the last part of the book here, just real quick, because I think it's such a great little note to end on, although the acknowledgements are a bit more optimistic than that. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with Stoker Mask, but let me know more about that. President Donald Trump, whose malignant and maladroit leadership during his first term in office had precipitated the crisis of ethics in special operations, both at home and overseas, was sworn into a second term on January 20th, 2025. For a national security advisor, Trump chose Michael Waltz, a thuggish, warmongering dullard who holds the distinction of being the first Green Beret elected to Congress. Aside from being the first former Special Forces officer to hold a seat in the House of Representatives, Mike Waltz was a wealthy man. He made tens of millions of dollars running a private company that trained special operations units in the use of drug trafficking. He made tens of millions of dollars running a private company that trained special operations units of the drug trafficking Afghan army. Waltz, a passionate advocate for war with China, has said that he expects the global war on terror to last 100 years. For Secretary of Defense, Trump chose Pete Hegseth, a dipsomaniacal former National Guard officer and opportunistic ex-Fox News host. Hegseth, the author of The War on Warriors, was known for his operator-style tattoos, as well as vociferous on-air defense of the most toxic figures in the Special Forces operations community, including unrepentant murderers like Eddie Gallagher and Matthew Goldstein. One of his first acts in office, carried out on February 10th, 2025, was to direct the Army to change the name of Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. That's right, Hegseth said, holding up a copy of the signed order. Bragg is back. So L-Man, see why I said that'd be addressed there? You called it. You called Rosebud. L-Man, how did you know spoilers for real life? You don't need to see Citizen Kane. You figured out the plot the first time around. Yeah, mask for mask. I didn't realize there was the temporary Fort Liberty renaming, so that really got me there. I was like, oh shit. But you know what? We're gonna put up a mask of liberty and indulge in the perception that there is a good war to be fought tonight. Let's get back to Medal of Honor, y'all. I think I gotta... How do I load my game? Oh, there we go. Uh-oh, something happened with my main monitor. Where'd the signal go? There we go. Interesting. All right, let's get on to the next mission. Interesting how hidden that load screen is. Also, I'm very curious about the difficulty curve because as far as I understand, I haven't really hit like a difficulty switch for hard, easy, moderate. It's just going to be kind of the intended curve of the game, which I find curious for something that was made to be a blockbuster. Now, as you made it off the Wolfram, dispose of that soiled uniform, your next priority is to locate the weapons we clandestinely shipped as part of the cargo bound for dock smoke. After that, find the facility's deployment timetable. We want an idea of what's going in and out of Bremen's busy port. They usually keep the list dockside in the harbor master's office. We also want you to disrupt as much of the shipyard as you can, blow up at least one of the port's cargo trucks with your demolition charges. Cool, cool. Be careful, Patterson. As you work your way through the U-boat production facility, the dock workers here have a rough and salty reputation. They don't take kindly to strangers. Try to engage them from afar with your sniper rifle. Okay. A rough and salty reputation. The front of the U-boat production facility is crawling with guards, so that's why we're sending you in the back way. You may have to engage in some acrobatic jumping and even a little tightrope walking to get from one building to another, but it shouldn't be anything you can't handle. Tightrope walking, eh? Being a former pilot, you're not afraid of heights, are you? Former ranger. The whistleblower ranger's name. You got all night to search, it's cool. But yeah, so when I was first starting this book, yes, it kicks off with the Levine Leshkar case, which you think is going to be the main focus, because Levine was the heroin guy, the opioids guy. Got me some rifle rounds. Cool, cool, cool. Oh shit. And so you think that that's going to be the kind of like the human angle, as Harp then takes you through 200 pages of global war on terror history, which is excellent and compelling shit. But once he's walked you through history and brought you back to the contemporary moment, he gets back to that, both the Levine-Leshkar case as well as the Dumas case, which Dumas being the other main partner of Levine's in trafficking all the opioids and such. You know, you get back to that first case Harp was talking about, but then he starts throwing Dumas's murder, and then the roid rage guy, and the acid guy, because the acid guy got his head axed up the same night that Dumas and Levine were murdered by a mysterious third man, and Levine had huge amounts of debt with his drug connections. It's chaotic how much violence starts happening, and then I realized, like, oh yeah, these guys are all, like, all these murders he's talking about, like, this is the biggest acid guy, this is the biggest roids guy, this was the biggest cocaine guy. You know, this is the Fort Bragg cartel. You think of the word cartel and you have a very cinematic or painted by media perception of what the word cartel means as far as an organized gang goes, and then it's like, oh no, it's all a bunch of dudes who are just moving extremely huge amounts of drugs that they're also addicted to because they need the money, because they have an extremely lavish lifestyle from the permission to be excessive that they've been granted their whole lives. Accompanied by a career in which they just get to kill people. In that way, it's really great at breaking the mythology around the word cartel, because as Harp points out while talking about all this stuff, is the Mexican cartels kind of get to take all the blame for what's brought in from Afghanistan. So at the same time, the US is creating this exact, like, Sicario-esque mythology of the cartel to hide its very own cartel behaviors, which are, you know, no one's in a Denis Villeneuve movie. Oh. There's a particularly gruesome episode where a dude takes out his wife that I did not want to read, but it brought to mind like a Martin Scorsese vignette as well, and that's, I think, fitting considering while Scorsese's work gets thought of as like, it gets misread in some ways as like celebratory of male toxicity by just the most bad faith critics. Something like Killers of the Flower Moon or Goodfellas, I don't know, the scene struck me. Harp was using a very Scorsese-like device where he had a single short episode that in microcosm was like graphic, brutal, but also like the perfect metaphor for how like self-harming this thing is and how self-destructive to like internal stateside forces it is, which Mask, that's again why I recommend it to people who may like still hold out as far as like centristy. You know, we can still fight good wars, like the military like just needs the right sense of direction or discipline. It's like, well, like let them read this, because like Hart is definitely of that kind. Like, hey, I was in the institution, please listen to me, because as you see, the results of this are that there's no accountability and soldiers are just off at each other without any sort of mitigating body of law to prevent that. I wonder that as well with things like, you know, kids growing up on something like Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, the the simulacrum of warfare that video games like America's Army and such, like this, do instill. This did have military advisors. Just how dissonant it must be to then get into the military if you were just sign up regular infantry, etc. And are suddenly, you know, surrounded by dudes doing drugs and all that stuff. Just the bubble it breaks you out of, or the dissonant leap it cracks in you. Repercussions are sorely needed. Keep Seth harping on it, yeah. Something I realized I didn't think of or bring up really much last session that I'm kind of considering this session is like, this game was still made before online multiplayer was a default given thing in console gaming. So it's very interesting to see the form of this being a single player narrative. In contrast to later games. Even PC gaming at the time did have much more focus on multiplayer components. That was a big reason a lot of like console shooters of the PlayStation 1 N64 era weren't like seen as real by PC purists, you know? You can deathmatch on them. You can have friends multiplaying co-op with you. Granted, games like Half-Life and the original Unreal are nice and big and pretty, but there's artistry here. Right, Mask, and I don't know my history of Medal of Honor all that much. Was there ever a Medal of Honor that was like, you get to play as the Nazis now? Was there what World War II game was the first to do that? Because there's still like a mediated sense of narrative going on in these. Yeah, Ja, I do wonder about like my middle school years going over to my broadband friend's house. Just some of the shit adults would be saying, or just, you know, fellow teens online. Would that kind of talk really leak out in the offline world? Were things different? Would they be different? Like, you can't get too caught up in it, but. Okay, it looks like I just walk over that pipe to the next area. Got it. I have to hope that some of them grow up to cringe hard at their past behavior. Me too. I don't know. I think it's, in my ideal world, I think the internet could be as laissez-faire as it is, and it'd be a matter of like the material, like offline world just being a better and more accommodating place so that people don't get into like the resentment alienation hole. But I do think the way things are currently set up, the machine just exponentially immiserates whatever you put into it, and we live in very immiserating times. Which, you know, I think part of this whole Technopoverty project is sharing my own curiosity and not doing like any specific sort of like world record or competitive record chasing. It's more about like, hey, this is what I'm playing, this is what I'm reading, this is how I'm bouncing it off what I'm doing with my life right now, etc. Some sort of more practical, applicable understanding of what arts and entertainment are for. the humanities as utility in your everyday life, not just tedium and knowledge for the sake of content. Warning, not all objectives met. Alright, what do I still gotta do? Secure deployment timetable, eh? Alright, let's go find it. Is there falling damage? Who's shooting? Who's shooting? Oh, shit. Alright, we're gonna have some fun. Whoops. Although I suppose if I really wanted to, it seems like speedrun strats, you can just hop down, you know? Oh, I love my short PS1 draw distance. I do think that while multiplayer gaming is like good for developing reflex, and I think multiplayer gaming has its benefits, but I do think single player gaming stimulates the brain. Good single player gaming can stimulate the brain in the same way that like a good book or movie. There's a certain patience building and expectation building, a rhythm for plotting, a rhythm for piecing, a rhythm for like a sharing narrative. I don't know, I think single player gaming has a sort of artistry that does help with focus in a way that multiplayer doesn't. Focus and mediation. Okay, we're ready to go to the next area. I'm kind of glad I died since the timetable's all the way back here at the start and I missed that last time. I also find it curious, chat, let me know if you had any kind of restrictions as a kid on what you could or couldn't play. My parents were pretty laissez-faire about it. Like, I couldn't see R-rated movies for a while, but like books and video games, they didn't seem to mind. I think with video games, they didn't imagine them getting serious. Like even in the minds of like them, like an M-rated game was still not going to be as bad as like an R-rated movie, because it's just a game. It's just for kids. That kind of perception. I do think both my parents, being boomers of the 60s and 70s, really did believe in a sense of like art as mediation and like as like solving the issue as well. A lot of listen to the lyrics type stuff from my father, for instance. Which I think was, you know, a huge part of the new internationalism of the 90s and sort of just the neoliberal turn of the 80s and 90s. Like, be a smart individual in the system, there is no society. But if you become a guy at something, if you become a real smart trivia guy, or a real smart movie guy, or a real smart website guy, you could still make it in the new American context. L-Man was forbidden from playing Star Fox Adventures because it was rated T for teen, eh? Oh, we do have to ask Zane about that mask because Australia's kind of wacky with the censorship. Oh yeah, Gallipoli. Was there anything on the ground over this way I need to look up? Nope, just where I dropped down from. Got it. I find it interesting too that these controls are twin stick. I was talking about GoldenEye, The World's Not Enough, and Turok games kind of falling apart when you like mouse and keyboard them. I'm curious how this would feel with mouse and keyboard because it seems to kind of account for it in ways those other console games do not. Like, so much of this isn't built around like huge firefights. It's built around navigating spaces and soaking in, you know, the World War II dioramas and learning something. Learning something. Oops. Who's hitting me so hard? Is it... Damn. Oh man, everything my older had less restrictions in their gaming, but they just didn't play games when mom and dad were around. Computer layer. I always had a bedroom computer, but we were in a small house, there's no other place. Don't think I went too crazy because of it, even though now I live online and edit for videos online. Stream video games online. That was like a square chest shot. That should just done him in. Alright, I need to quit hitting O to reload. But also reload and action button are the same button, and that's just not not a thing you can change. Whoa. It's actually kind of scary fighting dudes with a sniper at close range like that because there's no crosshair and the accuracy is so sketchy if you're not iron sightsing it. I think I enjoy that tension. Don't know if double time. Yeah, when did double tap become a war crime? Speaking of war crimes, I was very sad to find out that Frenchie from The Boys is an IDF guy who just sort of referred to terrorizing families as his adventures. That really sucks. Yeah, that really fucked me up, Mask for Mask. I was like, I was warming up to the new season. I thought the first episode was kind of weak, but they were getting subsequently better. But then I'm just like, oh, that just ruins Frenchie forever. And generally, any attempt at a point the show might try. How do I get to that guy down there? I got him. I so got him. Where's this other dude? I've never seen Harry and the Hendersons, actually. That the Bigfoot movie? I don't mean that in a condescending way. Bigfoot's cool. Just, it's a movie where people befriend a Bigfoot or something like that, right? He banned dancing from the pulpit. Oh, I should... Can I get over there? How do I get up there? Interesting. Secret box puzzle. Can I come back this way? I don't think I can come back this way if I don't do this now, so I should do this now. If I can I drop down there? Am I supposed to like... Good, 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 good. Alright, that's a little better for the SMG. I was running out of SMG bullets all fast last time. See, when playing Spec Ops, we brought up Baudrillard's The Gulf War Did Not Happen. We're talking about, you know, the Gulf War and all that being more like a drones, planes, you know, a warfare from a distance, from behind a screen. The way we popularize and try to mythologize warfare in our video games now, you know, there wasn't a dude in World War II doing this kind of back and forth bumfuckery with like chasing keycards and stuff like it was a Doom level. Like, yes, there may have been some stealth infiltration missions to like sabotage bases and blow up things, but like, it wasn't an arcade game, is what I'm trying to get at, I suppose. What we see, if anything, with this is a sense of like, if I was back in time, I'd be one of the good guys. This is a 1999 conception of what being a good guy entails. Cool. Is there rifle ammo I can collect? Okay, I think I can just, I don't have to like kill all the dudes in this next section. I just have to get to that ending rooftop space. I keep hitting change weapon instead of reload, and what's annoying about that is that reload, I mean, you can only cycle your weapons one way, so if you fuck up the reload, instead of just switching back weapons, you have to cycle through all the weapons. There's like something in that space that I want, just because the game's trying to keep me out of there. Really? That grenade didn't hurt anyone? Okay, so... let's get out of here. Cool, cool. Oh, this little girl. Oh, nice. A flying spaghetti monster decal. Big step. Classic internet, by the way. Gang, I mentioned this on the Discord Sunday. We're going to be watching Saving Private Ryan. Next week, the movie after that, I realized we're probably going to move into Medal of Honor Underground after Medal of Honor. And as we do that, we're going to watch Jean-Pierre Melville's Army of Shadows, a 1960s French film made by Jean-Pierre Melville, based off his real experiences in the French resistance in World War II. Although, it's interesting in contrast to Saving Private Ryan, because where Saving Private Ryan comes out in the 90s by someone who didn't fight in the war and is very saccharine and mythological, Melville's movie is very self-introspective and cynical about the whole French resistance thing, and if they were operating with their best interests in heart, as far as like, did they have to kill some of the people they killed in pursuit of what they were doing? Not Nazis, of course he killed the Nazis, but there's some very interesting and tough decisions in Armies of Shadow as far as like people getting caught and sacrificing themselves, people getting caught, and other members of the resistance taking out those folks so that they don't talk, that kind of a thing. Spoiler, Private Ryan is Batman. Ramen. Okay. Hunter's Den, page 1, 20th of June, 1944. The production facility is full of things that can explode, so be careful where you shoot. Nice. And be mindful of where you're taking cover while under enemy attack. See, that's a good way of dramatizing and just being like, hey, there's explosive barrels, without explicitly saying, hey, there's explosive barrels. You have 4 main objectives. Find U-4901's engine specs, procure its hull blueprints, destroy the facility's sea door controls so they can't launch a pursuing sub, and finally locate and board U-4901. U-4901 is truly a monster. They had to build a special dry dock at the edge of the facility just to construct it. A source we have within the production office says that they're only a couple of hours away from launching the sub for the first sea trial. You must be on board as it heads out into open water, otherwise the mission will have been for nothing. This is cool. Beyond what we played first session, I don't know what this game has in store for us. This is a neat set piece. From what I understand, we're like, this is before D-Day, or was D-Day June 6th? You'll come across different U-boats in various stages of construction. Keep going until you hit the last sub. That's U-4901. It's by far the biggest boat in the yard. You'll know it when you see it. I also have on good authority from our sources, despite the grime and filth of production floor, the foreman who built the sub-engines insists on using one of those expensive, fancy roll-top desks. So keep an eye out for a roll-top desk. Yeah, Mask, as am I. Also, Army of Shadows, it's interesting. There's some Metal Gear Solid 4 in it. What is it, Chapter 3, where you're roaming around the city before the big Liquid 90-minute cutscene, Liquid Ocelot cutscene. The chapter where you're sneaking around at night and you meet Eva. A lot of the imagery from that chapter looks very much like Army of Shadows, which, you know, features French dudes having to sneak around French locations. Kojima definitely is a fan of Army of Shadows. It's like one of those quintessential French cinema movies. Jean-Pierre Melville himself is kind of like the French predecessor to Spielberg. There's a lot of Spielberg I see in Melville, but not like Jurassic Park Spielberg, like Schindler's List Spielberg. Serious Spielberg is there in Melville, I think. I think Melville does it better just because of his grass-touching experiences and choice of subject matter, where Spielberg's still very, well, The Fabelmans is Spielberg actually working out pretty well. I'm thinking though of stuff like Lincoln, where it's still a bit too detached and Hollywoody. Although it's trying to do something, it's just marred by its own American-ness. Ooh, that all looks very explosive. Is this one of those more open areas? Because I really enjoyed that last game with the way these chapters work seems to be like each mission is split into 3 or 4 levels, and the first level's really good at getting you into the loop of what you gotta do mechanically or what to expect mechanically. And then the second or third chapter tends to be this more open system thing that's really cool. A mini search action Metroid-esque, if you may. Oh no, 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 no. Can I? Yeah, cool. There is a little bit of some like discount Indiana Jones going on with the score, but I mean, it's Spielberg, let's go. It works. This is a better directed video game than, say, a David Cage game. Thinking of how around this time Cage was trying to make Omicron the Nomad Soul, which is just a sprawling mess of a thing. Maybe though the most earnest and ambitious Quantic Dream game. I don't know about the least horrible, because it's a real messy game. You can really screw yourself and walk into a corner there. The whole thing with Omicron the Nomad Soul is that, oh no, oh no. Did you sound the alarm, sir? Where can I turn it off? Where can I turn it off? Prolines. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, hey. Engine specs found. Nice. I do like intentionally destroying the alarms so that the enemies can't set them off. I'm backtracking, but I'm just checking. So this is not the kind of open-ended thing I was thinking it was, maybe, or maybe it's just a big circle and I need to go the other way, because that's where I started, that's where I came in. It really is admirable to me how much character these spaces carve out. On, like, this is, again, not a PC game, this is a PlayStation 1 hardware setup, it's much more limited. Nowhere near as sophisticated as, I say sophisticated, but like, it's interesting to me. I'm thinking about this in comparison to Half-Life 1 and how well this does atmospheric storytelling stuff with less. Not to say that makes it better or this makes Half-Life worse, just like with the kind of economy it's working with really impresses me. Again, this is unrealistic geography, but I get it. I'm infiltrating a warehouse. It feels as staged. And there's some really good single player, like, ludonarrative ethos shit going on here that you will see carried on through the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. You know, eventually culminating in stuff like The Last of Us, Spec Ops: The Line, just really well understood, well executed narrative-driven games. Even if Spec Ops: The Line's narrative is like kind of convoluted and nonsense in the end there with the plot twist. It never breaks as a game, it just becomes questionable as a script. Is this the hole? Is there hole blueprints around here? There's definitely Nazi flags. I see that. Oh, who sounded the alarm? I think I've taken out most of the dudes. Cool, cool, cool. Let's blow up that door. Looks like that might be it right there. Oh. Look at this environmental lighting. This moody environmental lighting. Oh shit, there's a dude down there. Yeah, that lean, baby. This is better than GoldenEye, and there's a certain immersive element of it that makes me. It's a more arcadey version of like a Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon, and that's really fun. With just a little bit of patience and pacing, it seems like. Oh, cool, cool. Here's the thing I gotta blow up. Because a lot of these enemies do only take 1 or 2 shots if you place them right. It's all short burst encounters. Cool, cool, cool. Now I just have to board the boat, which I think is down this way. But yeah, that lean, see? Ooh. You were very lucky for now. Ooh, look at the submarine. Ooh. That's nice. Do I just jump on the boat? Or the sub? Nah, I think I have to go across the bay. some nice tempting stuff down there. Alright, I heard a dude running. Where was that? Is there anyone down here? Ow. Who did that? Who did that? Who's doing that? This actually may be helpful. Alright, it's like guys up over here. Okay, cool. Lady Gaga's apprentice. Welcome to the Steven Spielberg experience. Yes. Would you like to film my mother dancing in the light? Or perhaps fondly remember Seth Rogen cucking your dad? Sorry, minor spoilers for The Fabelmans, for those who haven't seen it. Which I do strongly suggest. It's not about war, but it kinda is. Alright, is this the end? Oh, come on. Video games. Don't be silly. Alright, this looks like the end. Yeah, I get in there, it looks like. But let's get supplies first. Chat, I'll check up on you in a moment. Apologies. Jacob's not here for the usual monitoring situation, and Barney, as you can see, is sleeping on the job. Speaking of hull blueprints, have you seen the Chinese Shinko water bridge barges that can lower bridges to link them together? It creates a 50-meter long causeway. Yeah, I have seen some of that, Joe. It's really cool. The Lady Gaga and the experience. The Lady Gaga experience. Just like Hendrix, Barney. Just like Hendrix. Oh hey, I got a 3-star rating there. In the Hunter's Den. Let's continue. Let's see if this is the third act in this block of missions. Maybe do one more before break time, although it is getting about that time. Yeah, it's very interesting to me how buried the loading screen was. Alright, dive, page 1. You made it on just in time. You'll be starting at the stern right above the engine room. Go down a level and make your way forward towards the bridge. Our contact said that the boat launched just minutes after you sneaked aboard. They thought that the whole facility was under attack by the Allies. You must have caused quite a commotion on the production floor. Heh, yeah. Your goal is now to scuttle the ship. Since we don't want this to be a suicide mission, the OSS has devised a somewhat daring plan that will destroy the U-4901 but keep you alive. This is a genuinely interesting, because it's like, oh, I'm on the ship and it's on the ocean. How's the game going to escalate from here? Also, just like on a technical level, I'm like, how's it going to pull off? What's the level going to look like? Step 1, radio your coordinates to the HMS Belfast, which is awaiting your signal. You only have a few minutes after you transmit them for them to get a fix on you. Now, with the clock ticking, find the fin controls and set the boat to dive. Then destroy the controls with a demo charge, locking the sub into a downward trajectory. Cruel. This is the critical part. Blow the emergency ballast, which will temporarily surface the boat. Scramble up out through the conning tower before the ballast tanks fill with seawater, plunging U-4901 to the ocean floor. Grim. All right. That's awesome, Mask. Yeah, let the doggos nap outside. Barney's finally gotten to the point where Jacob's been gone long enough that she's just like, okay, she's a bit calmer about it. She's accepted loss. Oh no. Oh no. Just a moment. This may be a thing with the loading screen on the PlayStation. It happened a little earlier in the stream as well. I haven't disrupted any wires. Alright, gang, actually, I may have to go to break a little early just to figure out what just happened there with the screen. So I'm going to go ahead, prep up that bumper for break time. It is 9:03. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to probably swap out the battery. She seems pretty well rested, so I'm not going to worry about taking her for a walk just yet. Also, I just said walk and her ears didn't perk up, so I think we're good there. But y'all stand up, stretch, smoke them if you got them, rehydrate. I'm going to get this video issue fixed, and we'll be back soon. Thank you for watching Technopoverty. We are back. I just had to... I basically simplified the setup. There's some HDCP, the high-def copyright-protected material protocol. On the PlayStation 3, basically streaming the PlayStation 3 is a pain in the ass, and so I had some extra cords set up. But now that we're no longer using the PlayStation 3 for Medal of Honor, I was able to simplify the cords, and that seems to have fixed whatever issue I was having. Although I'm noticing the aspect ratio is a little fucked up. Give me just a moment on that, gang. There we go. There we go. Now everything is in its proper place, as it should be. Oh, she's still sleeping. She's been so good. She's been so good without her daddy here. Just gonna bask in Barney for a moment before we get back to it. Plunder of Taxpayer Funds Act, eh? Defamation lawsuit for Epstein coverage, which just dismissed this week. Damn. Everyone gets tall for credits. Yeah, I love that part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie is when they look directly at you and say the meaning of everything and the exact moral message you're supposed to take away. All right. Oh, that's just me over here. Sorry, PC controls a little finicky. Man, this score sure is busy, but also, oh, hey, a pissin' Nazi. All right. Nope, you don't get that reason, sir. Not on this boat, which it's completely insane that I'm opening fire. But let's go for it. Let's just go for it. I did the reload button thing again. There we go. Let's see if I stop that by the end of this run, gang. I don't think I am. I can get better, but I won't get well. Right, I need to get to the radio, because we got a crazy plan to sink this thing, and then I jump off. Oof, oof, oof. Oof, 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 oof. Okay. That's what I'm actually saying during the firefight, and they're very confused as to why I'm going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Going with God. God, I love that little animation detail. I love when they die gripping the trigger and just firing off shots. It's such a fun little live wire animation. Such a great consideration. Oh my God, dude, get away from me. All right. Torpedo Bay, Torpedo Bay. What are weapons I got on me? I got a sniper, I got some grenades. I want to stick with my pistol. It is pretty much just like sniper, machine gun, pistol. I had a shotgun for one level, but it's gone now. Some form of grenade. Grenade's still an inventory item. It wasn't until like Halo did the unique button thing that really caught on. That's something Call of Duty 1 really took. I remember Call of Duty 1 took a lot of Halo from the first time I played it. That's how I felt, in a good way. 2 weapons, grenade on its independent button, that kind of thing. Also, I like this game's sound design, but Call of Duty 1's sound, oh shit, okay. But Call of Duty 1 was really striving for realism, and it really did succeed at being that immersive. It also worked against this sort of man-on-a-mission structure this game's going for, in that you really had to rely on your squad mates in Call of Duty 1, from what I remember. I don't know how Modern Warfare gets with that kind of stuff. But Call of Duty 1 pretty much is a stick with the group kind of effort. I mean, Stalingrad's the climax, and that's a big ol' acknowledgement that like somebody else besides America helped out during the war. Interesting how like distinct that game's first iteration had to be as well before just becoming the norm. Actually, that's the first time I've really considered playing the later ones, just to see that transformation from the squad-based sort of cooperative effort thing the first game stressing into the, you know, to remember no Russian kind of exploitative perverts game. The perverts war game. I keep, honestly, Jaw, because I'm not really prioritizing headshots, because if I hit him with a body shot, it stuns him, and most guys only take 2 or 3 shots as is, so I find it better to just kind of zoom and go for a generalized body hit, and more often than not, I'm looking lower than I guess the game's crosshairs are placed. I expect the crosshairs to be placed more center, or maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spot.
I don't know if you noticed during the sniper level previous, but I wasn't feeling the hottest on headshots. They didn't seem to do the kind of like one-hit kill magic. I was still pretty much doming dudes with 2 or 3 shots. Okay, I actually don't want to activate the radio early. I kind of want to clear. Oh shit. See, that headshot worked because that was like point blank range. Oh, please, someone have some health. No way. No way. I heard the dude running. Where'd he go? Okay, I don't want to do that yet. Although it didn't seem to start a timer. Okay, there's the ballast switch. Oh no, come on. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, is there a health pack anywhere? I am living on a prayer. Okay, there's the exit hatch. Okay. Okay, maybe I killed all the dudes and I'm fine. But that seems a bit too optimistic and hopeful. Oh, shit. I meant to, yep, okay. Yeah, I started the ballast in the wrong order anyways, but okay, short level. I'll have to check the options screen, but I really didn't see a difficulty switch, and I kind of like the sort of expectation to play. I feel like I'm playing as it was intended to be played, and this is a nice... It's not a walk through the park, I'll put it that way. I am, as you can see, having to like pace myself, aim proper, commit mission objectives to a sort of meta order, not just like checking them off, but being sure I hit them in an economical fashion. I don't know too much about LucasArts. I'm sure I've played more LucasArts games than I realize, but Spielberg and Lucas do know their shit about this, it seems. I know it's more about the people that work those teams, like especially LucasArts. George Lucas was just kind of like the final, like, yeah, this is cool, go ahead, keep doing it thing. But I do think even in seeing Lucas's critiques of the new Disney Wars, just be like, well, the fans will like it. Like, that's a guy who knows nerds. While this isn't realistic, there's something very Hollywood 1950s World War II to a lot of the aesthetics here. Like, a lot of these seem like costumes. Very on the beach into, I think Captain Quasar mentioned, into eternity. Oh, my health situation's dire. Disney pulled a lot of old games from Steam. What titles? Their licensing is so labyrinthine, I'm not sure what is and isn't a Disney-owned thing at this point, because there's a lot of 20th Century Fox gaming that also has weird licensing tie-ups. Like the Alien vs. Predator 2 for the PC. I believe you can just download for free off of a website run by fans because it's considered like abandonware by this point. The licensing is so convoluted, it's been like just lost to time. Which is funny. I was about to say sucks that, but you can still play the game, and that is like maybe the best game using the Alien license. Although Eradication, the Doom Total conversion we played last summer, was also a very good Aliens game. Gang, remember the summer of Doom? What fresh hell awaits us this next summer, I wonder? Oh, this is set me up for bad. This is set me up for bad. The body's bad. The body's not good. Oh, I figured these guys would like pincher me with those other dudes, but they're just clueless. Okay. I should have just aimed. Should have just aimed at that guy. It would have been a lot more humane. A bunch of old games. Like old Disney Interactive games. I remember my roommate had the old like re-released versions of the Super Nintendo Aladdin and Lion King games and stuff like that. I know Disney Interactive had its own stuff. I just never thought to seek that out on Steam, I guess. But it makes sense they own like all the LucasArts stuff now. If that's the crap they're pulling, that sucks because those are beloved. A lot of the like Star Wars games and stuff. Okay, okay. No? Oh, Ja, I know. I'm definitely assured we are. I have friends who are very big into piracy for that reason. I did find this and the Allied Assault disc images just up on the Internet Archive. If you're looking for PlayStation 1 games, there's a healthy amount of just disc images up on the archive. That's also how I got Silent Hill when we played that for Haunt Timber. Alright guys, I'll be more patient and less impatient. Sage words, you see. Alright, alright. I just lose a lot of health going up the other ladder because there's like that machine gun guy just waiting. It might be worth it to just lob grenades when I get up there and then jump back down. Also, first time I did this hallway up ahead, I just mowed people with a machine gun. That seems way more effective. Certitude, yep. Alright, grenade hypothesis is a go. I have a lot of grenades. Joe, I'll read your message in a moment. Have I just been not utilizing enough grenades in my life? Also, when you go into precise aiming mode, even though you lean left and right with the stick, you can still look up and down with both sticks. So, Jaws, sometimes I'm looking down at their nuts because of that. I swear, guys, that's why I'm looking at their nuts and no other reason. See, now there's a good amount of health items back here, so I'm gonna go clear out the room ahead and then heal on recovery. Ah! All right. These are small enough levels that I don't mind the rerun, just because it is like an arcade level. It's like, okay, there's 3 points you gotta hit. It's not a lot to commit to memory. Adequately paced Dark Souls run back, if that makes sense. Going down ladders is a little tricky. I don't even think I picked up that bathroom medicine in the first area, so I have plenty to run back to. Well, I'm definitely getting them with the grenades. Alright, I've read that this is how guys look at other people's penis packages more than anyone else. I did look up where I found that out and go around saying it to people IRL though. Yeah, Mass, this was a thing back in the day with like dick girls on the internet and Google search history and figuring out who was looking at Futanari. That's really fun. Quite Tarantino-esque with my shooting form. Oh, I've been meaning to play the Long Dark Mask. No shame in walkthrough vids, yeah. No. Walkthrough vids is how I learned how to do speedrun strats in Super Metroid, like no shame at all. Also, that's just very much in line with, I think, the greater point about the humanities I try to make with the project, like talk about these things with people. At least for me, a big part of like grade school was having friends, we'd be A/B testing what we're doing in games. Or just talking about the meaning of single player games and books we're reading. So you see where the habit started. Oh, if it's still on sale, I highly recommend picking up Ghost Trick Phantom Detective if you like narrative-driven single-player games. It's a 2D kind of puzzle game. It's very story-heavy. You play as a murdered person's ghost trying to figure out your own murder, but you can't remember anything. And like, so you have ghost powers where you can like rewind the past just like 5 seconds. I forget the exact gimmick. Point is, through your ghost powers of jumping through the past like 5 seconds at a time, you're able to kind of trace back to the night of your murder and figure out what happened. It's a very good single player story game. It has the best dog in gaming, I tell you what. And I won't say anything else, but Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, I think it's only like $10 on Steam. I picked it up this past weekend. Thank you kindly. Ghost Trick was also originally a Nintendo DS game, and it's 2D, so like it takes little. You can run it on a toaster, is what I'm saying. It's cool like that. I actually have a lot of machine gun bullets. I should just really mow the lawn. Wow, the music really complimented that war crime. Not what I wanted, but oh well. And that's the exit, if I remember right. I'm gonna run back and get some healing items. Cool. Cool. All right, so transmitting coordinates. Doom, doom, doom. Doom. And exit. Cool. Pretty good once we got everything banging there. Memento meets Prince of Persia, kind of. It's got some characters. All right.
Most frightening. And if you were aboard a ship in the icy North Atlantic during the war, you experienced firsthand the dread of wondering if you'd ever make it to port. From facilities like Duxmark, hundreds of German U-boats were launched to hunt in their deadly wolfbacks. But the Allies fought back. Sub-hunting planes searched endlessly for U-boat periscopes, and when they found one, the results could be devastating.
Boom. Yeah, see, they're rewarding me with historical facts about the thing I just went through.
This would be a horrible way to die.
Yeah, man, fuck that. I did not want to sink in that ship. What is the next mission, Chief? Alright, let me check something really quick. Password, secret codes, controller, audio credits. Yeah, no difficulty in the options menu, at least. War records, let's see, mission log, personal records, load game, save game, new game. .46% accuracy, eh? Well, Jaw, look, right there, 195 groin shots. I'm definitely going for that more than the head or everything else but the torso. I'm all torso and dick here. Sub-emergency escape training drills are just to make family feel better. Oh, God, that's so grim, Mask. I don't... Wow. All right, onward with the war. What's next? What's next, Barney?
This
Fort
is the latest
Schmerzen.
reconnaissance from the Siegfried Line. Now that Montgomery's attempt at a shortcut has failed, we're going to have to get through Germany the hard way.
Okay.
This is the Moselle River near Metz. And this is Fort Schmerzen, which is proving to be one tough nut to crack. Thick concrete walls, artillery, machine gun emplacements, dragon's teeth. It's a briar patch of German defenses.
A briar
What
patch.
you see in the recon is only the tip of the iceberg. These forts go incredibly deep, sometimes 4 or 5 levels down into the earth. They're completely self-sustaining. They have their own command and control centers, radio rooms, supply bays.
Oh yeah, just like the
dormitories,
secret
and
Al
kitchens.
Qaeda mountain
Jerry can
bases.
stay down there for weeks.
The James
even
Bond
months at a
hideouts.
time. And of all these fortifications,
Jerry.
Schmerzen is the
What
biggest
is
of
the
the lot.
deal?
While we've been able
I
to
am
knock
a
out some of the small
Zionist.
forts, Schmerzen has remained impenetrable. They keep pouring resources
Schmerzen.
and equipment into it, even though it doesn't make much tactical sense now that we can effectively flank the position. Unless, that is, something sinister is going on down there that we don't know about.
Oh no.
That is what is scaring us.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you,
Spooky.
son. You're not the
What is
first
Jerry
agent
up
we
to,
tried send
Barney?
in there. But it's imperative that we find out what the Germans are up to, so that's why I've personally assigned you this mission. The Nazis are hiding something deep inside Fort Schmerzen, And my gut tells me it's something bad.
I'm curious, yeah. What up, Manon? Mon pote. It's good to see you again, my friend. It's been a few months since we last spoke. I've been on some missions of my own. Shoot underground. Okay, cool. But now it's time to get, as you Americans say, down to business. Fort Schmerzen is going to be one very tough assignment. I should know. I once worked there. First things first, Schmerzen's bordered by all sides by thick forest filled with wild animals and booby traps. Cool, it's just like Snake Eater. The soldiers who work there never wander far from the main roads. You do best the same. All of Schmerzen's entry points are fortified against the major frontal assaults, so the razor wire, multiple gun emplacements are more than a match for even you, mon ami. Fortunately, some of the bunkers have secret hatches that lead directly into the fort. An old friend of mine will leave a crowbar for you outside one of the gates. Gordon Freeman. Use it to pry a hatch open. Finally, something odd showed up on the recon photo. What appeared to be a Stuka dive bomber was parked out in the middle of the forest. It was probably just a smudge on the lens, but check it out anyways. Yeah, so it's secret bombing project. What is the deal with the idea of cosplay vacation I took my family on? We were dressed up as soldiers. Kramer, we shot guns. Oh, that sounds wonderful, Jerry. How do I convert? All right. So we got a shotgun. Got American grenades. We got a lever action rifle. We got some sort of repeating rifle. All right, we'll go with just a regular rifle here. Look at this forest. This forest box. All right. Oh, did they already see me? Oh, shit. Okay. Wow, I just missed all of that. This is a fun gun, though. I just tore through. I just wasted a bunch of ammo, though. Noted if I die. Haha. This is a nice setup. I like that I'm swapping weapons and yeah, it's a, ooh, halt. This is a breath of fresh air after all the claustrophobic sneaking around, even if it's a very, very small, limited PlayStation 1 representation of the outside world. Oh, he doesn't see me yet. I do like the little buildings off to the side. It's like little paper mache backgrounds. It's great, great shit. Ooh, left or right, gang? Left or right?
Get up in here.
Oh, where? I fear I accidentally went the right way, gang. Don't you hate when that happens in a video game? Oh, shit. Alright, we're gonna go check what that other path was all about. Okay. Cool. All right, got a flavor. Got a flavor in my mouth. Let's go. back here I missed? No. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do the dumb boy thing and try to sneak up on the front again, or at least eliminate the dudes around it and see if that makes any difference. Although I'm pretty sure, based on just Minone's writings in the intro, you're just really not supposed to go that way. Okay, yeah, we just won't try anymore. I learned. Is there a dude chasing me? Dang, dang. Yeah, there's some nice tension to that blind firing there. Oh, that shotgun spread saved me there. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Any health around here? I need health. That looks like health. That is health. All right. Oh, oh, I see you, draw distance guy. Oh, come on. No way. Ah, damn. I thought I got him. A slope and shagginess that prior FPS games were missing. True, 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 true. Oh my God, Frankie read the Michael Richards autobiography. Man, what? I guess I've just never really thought like what the ascendant life arc of Michael Richards was as a comedian, actor, talent. I just always knew him as like the guy from UHF and Seinfeld. And then, you know, saying the N-word at the Laugh Factory. Dang, dang. Look at these trees too. I really do like the branches. Like it sucks that that dude killed me last run, but the way he was hidden in the trees was nice. All right, I know to stay away from the machine guns, but I do just want to kill this guy who's out on patrol. He seems like he could be trouble, if not. Is there someone else firing at me now because of that? Alright, I don't need that health pack yet, which is good. Ooh. Ooh. Piece of candy. Ow. Who's hitting me? Who's hitting me? Yeah, UHF's such a good movie. Okay, cool. I'm all patched up. Yeah, the station boss and his suck-up son is such a good character interaction. Also, Wheel of Fish. You got the red snapper. Whoa. War is hell. Sometimes dudes just blow up like that. Okay. Okay. Not this time, dude. There we go. Interesting synchronicity, Ja. Also, the Spatula City ad. Spatula City, Spatula City, Spatula City. If you don't buy one of my cars, I'm gonna club this baby seal. Just a whole ecosystem gone. I was thinking about this with comic books because, like, the bits I'm talking about in UHF are all the ads, like the local ads they get for eccentrics on the local broadcast station. And comic books, I love collecting old comic books because you see what advertisements There were, and like the advertisements in like the 80s for like video games and like genre books and tabletop gaming systems. It's nicer than the contemporary ads in comic book issues, which typically it's all vertical integration. So if you're reading a DC book, you're just gonna get a bunch of WB shit. If you're reading a Marvel book, you're gonna get a bunch of Disney shit. It doesn't have the same zest. There's not a bunch of, you know, these medium-sized fish in a pond trying to get bigger through like the synergy of advertising across, you know, horizontally. Everything's integrated now into mega corporation mode. And UHF is a great look at that. I remember in journalism in high school having to like secure ads for the paper. And does that still happen with like journalism classes? I'm kind of curious because I feel like I was right at the end of journalism education when print was still barely vaguely a thing. I'm kind of curious what new strategies for like journalism pedagogy there is out there in the world. Merlin says it's a barrow owl. Interesting. Merlin, an app for owls? That's pretty cool. Alright, I guess guys here are dead. Oh shit. Phew. Much like Metal Gear MSX, there's just some clunky inventory management that dates this game, but hey, they were trying to figure it out. I just wish you could cycle backwards through your weapons wheel as well as forwards. There's only one way to go. Luckily, they don't give you too much to juggle. Came this way, mowed that guy down. Got some health. Where's this bomber I have to destroy? Aw, dang. Level geometry's not letting me walk on that wall. That'd be fun. Ope, ope, ope. Dang. Oh shit. Thank you for having such loud footsteps, sir. That's also great environmental sound. Just what a nice little notch in the production value. I didn't realize this path was even here till I heard that guy. I hears him. I hears him. I sees him. I will not pick up that health pack. I'm actually starting to get into the meta of skipping health packs so that I can backtrack to them later just in case. Oh shit. Who's behind me? Okay, maybe that was a very good perch to be in for that particular event. Oh, I have a lot of ammo for this guy. Good. Oh, tight. Tight. Okay. Oh, do they know I'm around? Oh, I see, I see, I see. Okay, okay. I'm just kind of having fun with these grenades. I haven't really used them much. Hell yeah. Is there another one around there? Okay, I'm gonna backtrack really quick. I imagine if I wasn't being so cautious and I went down that one way, I might be able to hop on that machine gun and use it to blow up the plane. Does this take me out just to the plane field proper? It does. That's what it seems to be about. Cool. Oh no, okay, cool. In case I didn't have grenades to do the job, probably. Okay then. I guess the other way is the critical path, then let's hit it. You know what? I'm feeling blasé. Let's shotgun it. Grenading nads. Nada nods, Roger, Roger. Okay, onwards we go. Is that locate crowbar and then open the hatch? Where is, I gotta find crowbar. I need the sick riffs. I need a 500-pound cat. Shit, that looks serious. Cool. Ooh, I'm scared that this guy is gonna like hop on a gun and just insta-kill me if I don't. Yeah. Get back up. Get back up. Come on, get back up. This mission is fun and nice, and like a nice atmospheric outdoor change of pace from like the claustrophobic. I said this already, but like I'm surprised at how big this mission is considering how short that submarine was. This is a nice sense of sprawling landscape. Like, I was a little worried because it's very narrow corridors for woods. The woods wouldn't be very convincing, but it's acceptably labyrinthine, even though it's also clearly a linear path, just dressed well. Okay, so this is all med stuff I don't need right now. I'm gonna go check that thing I ran away from, knowing there's some good health down that way. Okay. Will this lead me to a crowbar? Shit. I fucked up. There's the crowbar though, so I do need to come this way. Holy shit, that was terrifying. Programmable grenades, the overhead burst, scary as fuck. Yeah. Yeah, Mask, it's Lucas and Spielberg have that same proclivity towards like the orchestral. I mean, both of them are heavily into Williams, you know? Alright, now that I got the crowbar, I'm like, which way is the level exit? If I go back this way, I'm scared I'm gonna get too cocky and yep, this dude's waiting to pop me off. This is the other side of the door to the place I just was, though, I noticed. Okay, cool. Let us continue on then, Barney. Let's be very careful. I'm in the home stretch here. Yep. I thought the grenade got him. Surprise. Oh yeah, he's dead. Oof, oof. All right, first little area cleared. Next stop. Also, body shots are good because the stagger lets you alternate targets, all done messing it up here. Okay, cool. Oof, I'm hurting. Did I grab all the health from back here already? I think so, but... Yeah, okay. There's gonna be like no health reward down here, is there? Yep. There's some health right down that ledge. I think there might be a dude behind me I gotta worry about. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, I'll look at the moon in a moment, Jaw. Sorry. With its what appears to be cropped edges. cropped moon. Were you looking at it for any particular ID, or you just wanted to see what the moon graphic looked like? Stealing the moon crust? Oh shit. Oh, I see. I fucked up. I think going this way worked out pretty well for me last time. Like, I jumped up here and yeah. Is there a third guy? I could have swore there was a third man. The third man. Cool. Walking into this area with a strong health value. Okay, so that's to the field. Nice. Buddy, I see ya. Come on. Oh, I fell. Cool. There's some health to pick up. I'll come back for that. There's 2 health pickups I've walked past so far, so noting that. You missed nut stuff? Mass for mass, the only nut stuff we've been talking about is I've been shooting a lot of dudes in the dick like RoboCop. Barney, they say you're perfect. Chat's telling me you're perfect. This past weekend, friend of the chat, multiple friends of the chat came and hung out in person with Barney. Some longtime chatters and friends I've had for a while before starting the stream. I had a friend in Austin for the Emperor concert, so we saw some black metal. But Barney got to meet some chatters IRL, and she was very nice. Surprisingly easy to take those dudes out. I'm very happy for that. Also cool field surgeon pack. Is there anything over here? There's a small health over here. Okay, so there's a small health over here and 2 health over by the airfield, so I have options to fall back on. But also, I think I'm, yeah, doing much better time on this than last time. Very Edge of Tomorrow. This is very much the arcade game aspect of it, if there's still, you know, something video gamey or kind of schlocky, non-prestigious about it. Something vulgar about the form, some might say. But I like this purposely sort of slower paced shooter. This feels... Because like in GoldenEye, it feels like they're still figuring stuff out, its tech limitations. Here, it feels very like narratively purposeful. Alright, yeah, this is what fucked me up last time. Fuck, okay. What is the best way to traverse this, I wonder? Maybe just grenades and running? Of course. I'm being very peanut-brained about this. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. We're doing it. We're breaking into the impenetrable fortress. The fortress impenetrable, save for Sakneth. The fortress impenetrable, save for Spielberg. Find entrance to sub-level 1. Isn't this basically that? Whoa. Shit. Oh shit, 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 shit. Haha! Wow. Damn, this level's turning out longer than I thought. Oh, okay. I was about to say I should run back for some health, but I just got that field searching pack. So you can get back up. Not for long. What an involving mission. Oh shit. Yeah. Take that, Nazis. That guy ran through the wall. Alright. We can just end the level. I don't need to be dealing with them wall teleporting ones. That is a nice little reward at the end there. Just like, hey, take a turret to these guys. Have some bozos to take down. Let's see, let's go a little bit further. Officers' quarters, 25th of November 1944. Spent 2 months undercover as domestic servant, the fort's commander, one Colonel Herman Mueller. Whoa, 2 months undercover? What a time leap. He's a pig of a man, a gluttonous creature foul in both appearance and temperament. He runs Schmerzen as his personal kingdom. He's considered a rogue by the German high command and often goes weeks without reporting in, oh, he's one of the bad apples. Our sources say that Berlin doesn't have a clue as to what he's doing. I learned enough of my time there to know that he's capable of some very bad things. During my 2 months undercover, the bowels of the fort underwent a major reconstruction. Based on his connections, Mueller was able to divert resources from the German war effort into some sort of secret project of his. I was never to find out what it was. Now it's your job. So we're getting more into like the proper mythology narrative of this game in specific. A bit away from the factual World War II and into the man on a mission kind of individualist narrative of Medal of Honor. First, to divert any reinforcements from coming in, find the radio room and send a phony distress call pretending to be a different fort along the Siegfried line. Then track down Mueller's staff orders in the operations room. Finally, search his personal quarters for keys to the lower level. I have a feeling that he will run as soon as he hears shots fired inside the fort, so he'll probably hide the keys under wherever he happens to be sitting at the time. Wherever he happens to be sitting at the time. Oh boy, so we might have to track a character's behavior. Barney, we have to watch these people. Oh, little legs. Send false SOS. Find orders. Acquire key to lower levels. Alright, depending on how bad I get stomped, we might end our session although this is a fun set piece here. Like we're all doing it. We're all doing the lean. Cool. Wow. In a way, because they hadn't like standardized the stick setup, that would never happen in a modern game, I feel. Just because the lean mechanics, I don't know, because there are lean mechanics in newer games, not all the time, but... What I'm saying is that was a very sophisticated firefight. I enjoyed it. That dude's gonna blow up. The grenades are very good in this game as well. That other enemies pick them up, toss them, throw them, that they can be dropped. You know, Resident Evil 4 had the whole shoot a grenade out of a dude's hand, but like you can stagger shoot a dude while he's throwing a grenade here and get a similar effect. Cool shit. Wow, look at that moon. Robo Doc? Oh? Oh, okay. Oh, did I hear a dog? Cool, set that false SOS. Did I miss any health on the backpack here? No, I don't think I did. Okay. Well, forward we go then. Oh. This could be another instance where they open a hatch after. You're dead, right? Okay. Oh, I should have backed up from that. I wasn't expecting the package to just explode on me. Yeah, look for the kernel stuff. I don't have to worry about this artillery. Alright, I hope I'm not walking into any gunfire. Oof. Oof. Very lucky. What was that? Okay, gang. I'm in it. I'm in it. I like this one. This level has won me over. Oof. Did that take care of him? Yeah. Sometimes, despite my best efforts, Jaw, I shoot him in the crotch anyways. Let Congress clean the grease traps of our delis and get on the minimum wage for it. Yeah. Yeah, they shot me into the 5th dimension on that last one. All right. This time I won't blow up that crate in my face like I did last time. Oh, sir. Yeah, buddy, you hurt yourself. Vent? An open vent? What is that? Curious. And curiouser. Is this just a secret stash room? I like it. Noted. I need to keep an eye out for stuff like that more often. If I remember right, there's a dude. Yeah, right there. Is there a gentleman up there? All right, much better health going into this last part here. It might not be the last part, and I'm just like making shit up. What do I want to do? Oh. Same area, same area. Okay. Good to know. Sir, you're saved by weird video game geography. New objective added, orders found. Gas mask and a key to the lower levels. Got it. What a floundering game on both our behalves there. That dude just rolling, me just firing wrongly. Romantically missing each other, valorizing the whole thing. Wow, we almost killed each other. Isn't war so cool? All right, let's just go forward. Do I go through the cracked wall? Or do I go back this way? Oh yeah, that place seems swarming with dudes. Oh, come on. Who's doing that? There's no need to. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that. No, sir, not one bit. Okay, there's the blown up bits. I should really go reinvestigate then. Yeah, because there's a lot of dudes that way. Oh, oh, oh. Phew. That was a close one. I want to go back through that cracked wall before I go any further this way. Good time to reload all my armaments. Clean my weapons. All right, it was over here. Okay, it's just a nice collection of things. Good to have after that firefight though, because that was a lot of dudes I just had to mow through. What up, Captain Quasar? Also, wait, what book? Sorry, I missed it on the chat. Oh, Dungeon Crawler Carl? Oh. It seems very Ready Player One in that it's a fun thing you'll like if you have some preconceived notions about books being stuffy or typically boring. It's not like the other books, or not like the other girls, not like the other boys. Credit where credit's due, though. The later ones in that series do seem pretty hefty, and I haven't heard anything, I don't know anything about the author or the story or anything like that, but they seem fine if you're just like looking for some adventure reading. Oof. Still looking for that gas mask, guys. Ooh, shit. This is getting complex with this map. No gas mask over here, just medical supplies. Okay. I'm trying to remember what piece of music this score reminds me of. It vaguely reminds me of this piece of classical music I remember from the end of Stanley Kubrick, A Life in Pictures, which is a Kubrick documentary Spielberg made about Kubrick. It's Spielberg talking to people and just himself talking about Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick's movies. It's a bit saccharine. It doesn't really get into like the ideological side of what Kubrick was doing. It's just kind of an appreciation, but it does have a sweet little ending montage with like a little orchestral swell that's emotionally affecting. Got that gas mask, nice. But I believe that that piece of music is either in a Spielberg or a Kubrick film, which is part of why it's being used in the documentary, because Spielberg just had the music on hand for it. Do you have the key? I got the key. Hell yeah. Now we're kind of playing Wolfenstein, if anything. Finding the key, underground hallways that all look the same. Oh shit. At the same time, still surprisingly fresh and varied. Yeah, these firefights are picking up a bit. Ooh, do I need to go just to the exit here? Is that the thing? Is that the move? No. There is a health pack back that way. Oof, oof, oof. Is this the way now? Is that the exit door now that I have the keys? Yep. Hell yeah, we did it. Barney, we're getting deeper into the Nazis' lair. When released in Germany, Medal of Honor games replaced the swastikas with iron crosses and changed dialogue due to the laws there. If I recall correctly, that was when I learned about laws concerning Nazi iconography. It was about to come out and her movement changed to Wolfenstein speed. Yeah, that was very much a Wolfenstein-esque level. Alright gang, I'm going to save. We're going to call it here tonight. This has been a wonderful session of Medal of Honor. Again, just the variety of level design principles at play here. Like, it's keeping things varied without changing up what type of game it is every time. Just very solid narrative, dramaturgical, ludonarrative shit going on here as far as the delivery means of the World War II narrative we're playing. Let's pull up the screen here. Just a reminder, so we're going to be watching Saving Private Ryan on the Discord this Sunday. Sunday after that, we'll be watching Jean-Pierre Melville's Army of Shadows about the French resistance during World War II. So we're getting a bit of the American and the French side of things these next 2 Sundays. Then we're probably going to move into Medal of Honor Underground as well as some World War I books and movies. But remember, we're done now with the Fort Bragg Cartel. Highly recommend it if you need to blackpill some family members on the military. It's good shit. You've heard me talk about this whole time. Up next, Norman Spinrad's The Iron Dream, which we'll be talking about Monday, which I think Jacob's back Monday, Barney. Is that true? We'll find out then. Until then, y'all take care. Have a good night. Forehead kisses, y'all.